gotta level with you. This is a fake microphone. It doesn't work. No sound is coming in it or out of it. It's just that when I do these kind of long talking videos where I'm not doing my makeup or sharing products with you guys, I get like this really bad deer and a headlights thing going. I'm fighting it right now where my mind's going just completely blank and it's annoying to edit it. So I thought maybe I'll give myself a little friend to hold in the video and then maybe it'll go better. We'll see. If you never see this again, you know it didn't work. Today, I want to talk about glowing skin as the new status symbol. It's more than just skin. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm saying glowing skin, but what we're really talking about is a full kind of re-examination or reframing of beauty as a whole in a way that I've said many times I'm very excited about. But what I'm most obsessed with right now is the kind of idea that glowing skin and the health, more importantly, that it is a signifier of, is becoming a status symbol in and of itself. And look, I've seen a lot of videos come out over the past year or so talking about thinness being the new status symbol. And to be honest with you, I believe what I'm about to get into in this video is kind of treading the same water as the thin is the new Birkin of it all, which I'm happy to do a video on if you guys want to hear. I just like talking about beauty, aesthetics, trends, it girls, all that stuff. I absolutely love it. Any opportunity I can to flap my jaw on that subject matter, I'm down for. So let me know if you want to hear me talk about thinness as it pertains to being the current beauty brass ring of it all. But I think, again, the other side of that coin is glowing skin, because I think the thinness, glowing skin, Pilates body, clean girl, Sophia Richie, old money, it's all the same thing. I'm interested in it because I think everyone is starting to look so much better than they were a few years ago. Like, it's not even a question. But I think what's more fascinating to me is seeing how fast this changed. I mean, I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 in February. I've seen so many trends and so many things come and go, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff come back into fashion that I feel like just happened. It's just crazy. You live long enough, you just see the same things happen over and over again. That kind of 2014 Instagram to 2019 Instagram face aesthetic was just everywhere. It had us all out here on the struggle bus so hard, and it was just gone virtually overnight. And I think it gave me a little bit of a whiplash because I'm constantly wanting to make content being like, can you guys believe this? Everybody else might just be so unfazed by it. I don't know if people think about it the way that I do, but I am fascinated by it. It tickles me absolutely pink. Like I said, that's what we're gonna get into today. Before we get started, make sure you check the down bar for links on my social media platforms. Thumbs up the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new here. More content like this is coming. I'm just trying to get my act together because, like I said, editing these videos, I've actually filmed a lot of YouTube videos this year already. Tons of them. Never see the light of the day because I do such a bad job filming them that editing them is impossible. So yeah, hopefully more stuff's coming. Anyway, let's get into it. I've been rambling long enough. So we need to go back in time very briefly to about 2014. What I honestly think was kind of the beginning of all of that. It was a combination of two things in my opinion. It was Kylie Jenner's lip filler. I have a whole video coming about Kylie Jenner's lip filler. I truly think her introduction of lip filler, whether she wanted to own up to it in a reasonable amount of time or not, isn't really so much the issue, but just the awareness of filler, which prior to that, I mean, it's not like Instagram had been around for a super long time, but we'd been on the internet taking selfies for a little while at this time and kind of sizing each other up and maybe wanting to look a little better because now we're living our lives on our phones. Like, we'd been doing that for a minute, but it wasn't until the introduction of filler as an option, and then that became just as commonplace as going in your brows done or something, we really started to see a shift with people's aesthetics and people's dedication to their aesthetics, and kind of the over the top of it all, I truly think came because of Kylie Jenner's lips. I have a whole timeline. I will break it down for you another day, but I think it was Kylie Jenner's lips, and I think it was the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit. Contouring and highlighting had been like a conversation for about a year or two when that contour kit dropped, but we really didn't have a way to do it. There was no product out that I can recall. I mean, at the time, a lot of people were using things like Bobbi Brown foundation sticks to contour, bronzers, things like that. Mario Dedivanovich's name was already pretty big in the true blue beauty space. Like, the OG girls had been knowing who he was well before the makeup line came out. He really, on Kim Kardashian's face, brought contour and highlight to the mainstream, much like Kevin Aucoin before him. But you have to understand, between Kevin Aucoin's time and Kim Kardashian's time, we also had like a rise of minimalism. And in the early 2000s, the makeup look wasn't invisible, but it was so much less fussy. Like the most kind of over the top glam look you would tend to see would almost only be on Playmates or like Jenna Jameson. You just see these intense black smoky eyes and the thin brows and the bronzy skin. Like the over top of it all was very much so kind of reserved for the women in the adult spaces. And that's fine. No tea, no shade. I love that aesthetic. I thought they were all so hot back in the day. It was crazy. But it wasn't like every day. It wasn't actresses. It wasn't actresses and movie stars, Whitney. Wow. It wasn't entertainers. It just wasn't the language they spoke. When I talk about the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, I just don't think you guys understand. I really don't. If you weren't there, you can't possibly. Some of y'all came out the womb knowing how to contour, but I didn't even hear this word in my life until I was like 27 years old. And I did not use my powers of contouring for good at all. I was a villain of contouring. When I look back at old pictures of myself and even how I used to do it to my clients, like I shudder at the idea of it. It was new and fun. And again, it was the excitement of what you could turn into. I've thought about this for years. Like, why? Why were we so hot to trot over that? We looked horrible. And a lot of seasoned makeup artists would try to tell us, like I made a comment about this in a recent tutorial where I said Wayne Goss the whole time was sitting there trying to be like, y'all quit with these Instagram eyebrows, you look crazy. And then we'd all take it so personal. And it became this war of like the influencers versus the real makeup artists who were trying to properly educate the public about how to do their makeup. It was something when you saw it out in the wild, it was shocking. I remember being at Ulta once in 2018 and I was waiting in line and I looked down. You know how Ulta has like that line of cashiers? Every single girl, I'm clocking their side profile because of where I'm standing. It is just the most harsh contour you've ever seen in your life. And I just knew like I knew that morning when they were doing their makeup at home under maybe their studio lights or their Hollywood vanity lights. It looked great because it always did. It always did. In person, it was so bad, and we do not actually live our lives online. Well, we do now. We do now. Ever since lockdown, I truly think the change has happened where most people absolutely only live their lives online. But at the time, people were still going out in public and doing stuff, and when you would see it, it was so wild. And then even more wild when you would see people who looked really pretty on social media with all their fillers and all their makeup, but when you saw them in person, it was very, very jarring. Not to blame the Kardashians for freaking everything, but I just don't think you can have a real conversation about beauty post 2010 without talking about them. Their touch has been, it's omnipresent. And the only thing I have seen that's even remotely had a chance at kind of taking that power away from them and shifting the cultural perspective on beauty has been things like the clean girl aesthetic and everything we're going to get into today. But for a time, they were the beginning, middle, and end of all things beauty. I just remember back in the day, like I think this is like 2018 or so, I remember I would always see these like shots. They were paparazzi shots, staged or not. They were candids of Kim Kardashian or any of the Kardashians. And you would see them out and about running errands or getting gas or going to the grocery store or whatever. And they would have, and I'm a makeup artist, so I can tell, it can look natural all day, but I can tell how much makeup someone has on. They would have so much makeup on, full painting for the back row beat on, extensions, wigs, the whole nine, but they'd be wearing like sweatpants.
So what I was trying to say is that I think the Kardashians in their own way really normalized this idea of everyday over-the-top glamour through marrying their presentation through excessive makeup, hair extensions, wigs, the whole nine, with very casual, understated clothing like sweatpants. Typically, when you would think prior to this happening of someone wearing sweatpants, it's just hair to bun, chilling with no makeup on. But once this kind of marriage of extremely casual clothing with 10 out of 10 glam came to happen, I think it kind of normalized this and created this idea that the everyday person should or could or whatever verb you want to use should be doing the same thing. And it really was silly because we weren't considering the fact that they were walking around in sweatpants and full beat because they were most likely being filmed for their reality show. None of us were doing that, but we were still wearing, like I said, this over-the-top glam on a daily basis for kind of no reason.
And I think there's something to that. I think there's something to this idea that just kind of all this emphasis on that. Wigs. Oh my gosh. You guys remember the wigs? I remember when people started wearing wigs. Crispy, if y'all remember Crispy, thumbs up this damn video and leave a comment because I know we are true blue beauty internet friends. Because if you know Crispy, beautiful girl, wonderful talent. She was like one of the first beauty influencers I remember starting to bust out wigs all the time. And then it just started happening often. I would see all these girls just wearing wigs, and I can't wear a wig. I can't make a bald cap work to save my life. Not to mention my head gets itchy just thinking about a wig on top of my hair. What I'm trying to illuminate for you guys is just such a painted on, sprayed on, heavy duty. It was all about what you could add. That was really the goal. How many like different corsets and shapewears underneath your Herve Leger bodycon dress, and how many extensions and how much makeup, and then maybe a wig or two. It was just more for more sake, and it was just like play. It was so much fun, and it really became a challenge over time to see who could outdo each other. But around 2017, 18, 19, I started seeing videos of people contouring their knees, their toes, and I know it was just for social media shits and gigs. I know most likely people were not actually in real life contouring their knees and their toes, but I think what I'm trying to say is this kind of normalization of piling it on reached a fever pitch, and I didn't think it was ever going to end. Little did I know, around 2019 when I started doing no-buy content and complaining about the beauty industry all the time and how fake and over the top and unrealistic everything was, I had no idea that literally like a year later it was all going to go away because COVID changed it all. I mean, I've made a video about this before, so I'm not going to go too far into it at the moment. What's shocking to me, and what stays shocking to me, is like, it was like blowing a flame out, like of a candle. It was gone. I don't think we'll ever go back to it. I mean, I see people all the time saying we're returning to maximalism. I don't see it. I think even if we do return to like a over-the-top version of beauty, like for the sake of being over the top, it'll never be, at least not anytime soon, because here's the problem. Every new generation that comes of age looks at what the generation before them did and they think it's cringe. Believe me, I have a Gen Z daughter. I don't see it coming back that way because I think it's the trend is still too recently expired. In Joss Whedon's groundbreaking masterpiece, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the feature-length film, Hilary Swank's character said it perfectly. It's so 5 minutes ago. It's too soon to come back. So I don't believe it's going to come back. I think what we're seeing now is like a vocabulary and literacy around beauty that is much more elevated. You're starting to see a lot of the things that people really got excited about in the context of beauty go by the wayside because they became easily attainable. And that's what you really got to pay attention to. Once something is easy to get your hands on, the mystique and the magic of it is over. And that's what the pendulum swinging of it all kind of signifies. So for instance, before everyone figured out that Kim Kardashian was getting BBLs, it was this big mysterious, like, what is it? I know that's nuts to some of you guys. You're like, there was a time when people didn't know what a BBL is. Like, yes, it's true. There was a time when people didn't know what a BBL is. And just so you guys know, BBLs came out of Brazil because men, or some women, but men mostly who were in transition, wanted to look more like a woman. So this surgery was invented to give them that shape. But we didn't know about that in like 2003. It wasn't a thing. And then suddenly it was. And there was this kind of like idea that you could get one. And you know, people who had a lot of disposable income and really had it like that, you know, started getting them. And what always happens is it kind of trickles down a little bit and the quality goes down. And it's like a handbag, like the Louis Vuitton Murakami white with the rainbow logo bag comes to mind. In 2003, I am just all over the place with my fun facts and references today. In 2003, when the Newlyweds came out and Jessica Simpson was toting that bag, it was just like the status symbol, the most amazing bag in the entire world. But then everyone started making fake versions of it. And then shortly thereafter, nobody wanted the bag anymore. Now, maybe you're carrying your Louis Vuitton Murakami Speedy bag and it's real and you paid all $3,500 colors of it. Everyone's carrying it, and now everyone assumes the bag is fake. So now everyone's going to assume your bag is fake. So that's what happens. That's kind of what happened with the BBL. Everyone started getting them, and then the mystique and kind of the allure and the exclusivity inherent within it went away. Then you started seeing really bad ones. They've completely fallen out of fashion entirely because they started becoming too easy to get a hold of. And I think that is why ultimately thinness, being skinny, whatever, and the glowing skin is a symptom of a lifestyle we're going to talk about. I want you guys to understand that just because I say glowing skin, I don't mean just the skin. It's the nice fit body, it's the long hair, it's the vibrancy, it's the abundance of youthful energy that I'm talking about, that we're seeing kind of become the ultimate status symbol. And I think we should talk about that part now because I've gone on long enough. So in the interest of being concise and not repeating myself 100 times, I'm not going to go into 2020 and its overall actually 2020 to 2021, maybe even 2022. Like those 3 years, I think you can see it's kind of like slowly but all at once where we were going to end up at. I don't want to get into that right now. I've talked about it before. I'll do a deep dive if you want, but I'll link some videos where I did speak more at length about it. I want to fast forward through that and end up and talk about where we are now, which is what I call the rise of high maintenance minimalism and why this is now a status symbol. What I think about it, how I think it works for women of all ages, what we need to take from it, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff, because I have a lot of thoughts on it. I remember in 2021 making videos talking about health. And this is when I started talking more about supplementation, taking supplements and wellness in general as a part of one's beauty routine. Like, to give you guys perspective on how crazy of a concept this was for a long time, Tati Westbrook in 2018 launched Halo Beauty, and everybody was so excited to see what Tati's brand was going to be. And when she launched Halo, which was a supplement, people clowned her for it. They thought she was a whole joke for doing this. And I remember back then being like, oh, no, she's right. I even bought it. I thought it was a great idea because, like I said, we had been entrenched in this like pile it on, cover it up thing for so long. And as I said before, it didn't look good in real life. It was not flattering on most people. Honestly, it had all of us looking hard and tired and cracked, just face cracks all over the place. And the idea of Tati coming out with a supplement in the beauty category, she was way ahead of the curve, Everybody's doing that now. There are so many amazing brands out there that have really come together on the beauty and wellness front. That is my favorite category or vertical right now, is the conversion of beauty and wellness, because I think they're so intrinsic. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, in 2021, I was talking about this already. I was kind of starting to say, hey guys, like maybe it's time for us to start doing things that make what we already have shine a little bit more instead of constantly trying to pile more and more stuff on. Saying that now, it's like, well, duh, everyone's doing that now. They were not always doing that. That was not the conversation. And now that's exactly where we are. Cosmeceuticals, or they called nutraceuticals? I don't really know which the correct verbiage. But anyway, lip tattoos, the high maintenance to be low maintenance routines of it all, the overnight blowouts, the morning sheds, all these things, all this effort we're still putting into our beauty, but it's in such a more organic, holistic 360 or 180, or is it 360? I'm not good at math. I mean, it's just been really fascinating to me to see the shift. What's been most interesting to me is like when I see someone who's got it dialed in, man, girl, you know, they did their Kibby body style type thing. They got their coloring, their seasons figured. I remember when I started hearing about the seasons, y'all. When everybody was like, I'm a winter, I'm a fall. I'm like, man, I remember when my mama and her friends in the 90s were talking about this. It was just tickled me pink to see it come back. But beauty is so much more exciting now because people are attacking it from so many different perspectives, and it's not just about makeup. Y'all validate me in the comment section. These young kids are not gonna understand. There was a time when beauty was just makeup. It was makeup, and now it's hair, it's skin. It is makeup, but it's such a small category in my opinion. I might be the last of a dying breed that still gets excited about makeup the way that I do versus all the other things you can do. Then you had the glow up girlies show up and talk about all of the different facets, the hygiene girlies, the perfume girlies. Like it just got really, really interesting. But when I see a girl who has all of that dialed in, she radiates something that Surely she paid for it, don't get me wrong. All these types of different modalities, for instance, facials, brow lamination, lash lifts, lip tints, extensions, baby Botox, Kibby body analysis, getting your colors done. None of that stuff is free. None of it. But it doesn't look like it costs a lot, when in fact it probably costs way more than the type of stuff we were doing for beauty in that time period that I keep referring to. It looks a lot better. The reason I think it's a status symbol now is because, again, though you can pay for it, you also kind of can't. Because what comes with that type of beauty, what comes with glowing skin, what comes with that youthful vibrancy, that freshness, is effort and discipline, my guy. And you cannot buy that part of it. I think that's also why thin is the new Birkin, as the girlies are saying, because you can't buy it. Technically, you can buy Ozempic. Okay, I understand it. You can buy a trainer. You can buy nice food. I get it. And you can get skinny off all those things you spend your money on, but you will not keep it. You will not keep it if you do not have the discipline, and that is not something you can purchase. Otherwise, everyone who has money would look amazing, and they don't. I think a lot of people feel more concerned, to be honest with you, to be in this era of beauty now. I don't really know why, because in my opinion, the things that go into having truly glowing skin, especially as you get older, child, oh my gosh, you girls in your 20s, my daughter is going to be 20 in October, and every time I look at her, I'm like, oh my God, I would suck the life right out of you. Like, she has no idea how stunningly beautiful, gorgeous, like she has no concept of it. You cannot appreciate it when you're in your 20s. You just can't. But that's also part of the status symbol of the skin thing, right? Because you can get it in your 20s because nature gives it to you. She's very generous in your 20s. And then as you get older, it ain't sticking around without, again, that discipline and that effort. You might have some money at your disposal. You might be able to afford getting, CO2 lasers and surgery, which is the new filler. I want to talk about that in a moment as well. I understand why some people find this particular era of beauty to be more toxic than the period I'm referring to. I humbly disagree. But that's because I think that the effort that you put into yourself to kind of achieve these status symbols, a fit body, glowing skin, they are well-intended pursuits. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm just guessing, but I bet Demi Moore treats her body like a temple. You could just look at her and tell she does. She's not eating crap. She's getting her sleep. There's just so much more of an effort that you have to put in to look as strikingly beautiful as someone like Demi Moore does. I would almost even say the difference between like Demi Moore, who is in her 60s, and God bless her beautiful sweet soul, Khloe Kardashian, who's around my age. Khloe is still, I think the older Kardashian sisters, except for Kourtney, are struggling with this new kind of standard of aesthetics. They don't really know how to relax into it. To me, I just think she looks like her approach to beauty for decades has been a lot more tied up in small tweaks, little changes, a healthy lifestyle. And even if that's not true, she just looks like it's true. Khloe, bless her sweet little baby angel heart, looks like she's kind of going through it all the time to me. That's honestly what the kind of overdone look signals in like my lizard brain. It used to be like the more you had on, the work was supposed to look like you had worked on. That was the status symbol, because it was like, oh, her cheeks are so filled and her lips are so full, they must have cost so much money. Now it's like, instead of it being a sign of someone having a lot of money, it's more a sign of like, you look like you're trying to look like you feel better than you do. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? I don't know if this is coming out clearly. Demi Moore, to me, looks like she's having fun. She looks like she's enjoying her life. She looks like she's been enjoying her life despite everything that she's been through. She looks the same way she looked 20 years ago, in my opinion. She looks amazing. And Khloe just looks tired despite all the effort she's putting in. And maybe that's what it is. It's like the new vibe to me is much, even though it's a lot of work, it feels like work in service of something that has long-term benefits. Again, getting lots of sleep, hydration, eating really, really nourishing and really, really high quality, clean, if you want to use that word, foods, managing your mental health, cutting toxic people out of your life, getting your red light therapy, getting your steps in. Khloe is a gym rat. I know everyone thinks that body is all Ozempic and surgery. It's not. She's got muscles. You can't buy those. Like, she do be working out. Only problem is, in my opinion, I don't think Khloe was ever meant to be as skinny as she is. Like, some people just don't need to get down to be as small as humanly possible, and she's one of those people. I think Khloe needs to get back, and not that anyone asked. Nobody asked my opinion. I'm not trying to talk shit about Khloe's body. She's beautiful. But I think part of what we're looking at on her face right now is her face can't keep up with the fat loss and she's overfilling. She's just trying to, it's like scaffolding she's trying to hold up in there. And Demi Moore, you know, it seems like her approach has been much more in tune with her natural frame, her natural features. It just looks like so much more effortless and healthy. I'm having such a hard time articulating this, but I think that's why it's ultimately going to be a true status symbol, because it's going to be about how well your look ages, how happy and healthy you look within it. Like, think about it. If you've got a face full of fillers and Botox, which I have nothing against, I just think we're now kind of starting to finally have the conversation around maybe there's other ways of doing this. It's literally impossible to say that you look happy like that. I saw this funny skit, I'll put it in here if I can, where this woman was basically like, welcome to so-and-so med spa, because why look old when you can look weird? And that's what I mean. Like, it's really the difference between, like I said, with Demi looking so vibrant and just alive and just juicy and just healthy and glowy, and Chloe doesn't to me. She looks frozen. She looks done. Bless her heart. Beautiful girl. Love her. I'm not trying to shit talk Chloe. She's been through enough. I know. I just have to come up with examples. And I think as women get older, you know, there might be this inclination to be fearful of this new beauty change because, like, for instance, all the clean girl trends in the world are never gonna compel me to stop wearing eyeshadow and eyelashes. I need them. I look tired and just raggedy without it. I don't care what anybody says. I do not like the way I look without it, and I don't care how out of trend it is. I'm just of a certain age, gonna have to look a little fake. And that's okay, right? I think for older women, the fear around this becoming the standard makes sense because what you're looking at, like for instance, when I said Sophia, Richie, and Hailey Bieber, those girls are in their 20s and we got to compete with them. Of course, they look clean girl fresh and look awesome with minimal makeup and dewy dumpling skin or whatever the crap Hailey Bieber calls it. Of course, they're 20. Talk to me in 20 years. Talk to me when you're 39 and we will have a conversation around how great your skincare line is. I don't think women my age or women approaching my age or women older than me should be fearful of this. I think you should be actually more excited about it because I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but younger doesn't even always equal hotter either. I think I look better now than I looked in my early 20s because I have more experience. I understand more about myself. Hell, I've had plenty of time to make mistakes and make myself look a fool. Technically, you can buy Ozempic and you can get liposuction. You can do all of the things, but the ability to maintain that result is something that it's a skill set you have to cultivate and have already. You cannot pay for it. I just think it's going to be so interesting to see how all this shakes out in the end because people are taking their health, their wellness, and by extension their beauty so much more seriously at such a younger age. I'm one of few. I don't know anyone from my old days that has always been as like obsessed with beauty as me, who started doing retinol in their 20s. Like I didn't know anybody doing it back then when I started. Everyone thought I was a weirdo with my little red light masks before those became popular. Like I've kind of been, you know, a little bit on the cutting edge of the stuff for a long time because it's in my personality. But people like me, not to toot my own horn here, but I think there's many of us. So it's not just like a me thing. I think it's just a personality thing, like I said. People like me who have been involving these rituals and these perspectives around beauty into their lives for long periods of time are going to come out winners. And it's never too late to start that. You can start your 10,000 steps. You can start your probiotics. You can start your gua sha and your cold plunging and all of the things today. You will probably not see any real measurable, tangible differences in your appearance to the degree that you're going to be excited about it for like 90 days at least. And that depends a lot on what modalities you're choosing, your genetics, this, that, and the third. But if you stick with all those things simply for the betterment of yourself as a person, simply for your health, simply to have that vibrancy, that vitality, that what I'm talking about, that thing Demi Moore has that I don't even think Chloe, who's 20 years younger than her, even has. You can start that process now. Those benefits compound. And I think we should look at that as an opportunity and something to be excited about, that we don't have to keep adding so many things to cart, adding so much money to our med spa appointments. We could instead take all that energy and those funds and plug them into things that are already inherently good for us. Again, supplementation, bone broth. These are just my personal favorite things that I think make a big difference. But whatever that is for you, you can plug it in there. Not only will you look better, your quality of life is literally going to improve. And I think that's so exciting. This was the most rambly. I don't even know if I made a single point in this video. I just, like I said, I kept seeing all these videos talking about like skinny is the new status symbol, skinny is new Birkin, and I just feel like the glowy skin, fit body, thinness, it's all the same kind of language we're speaking in beauty now. And I think they truly are beauty status symbols, not even beauty status symbols. I think they're status symbols in general because I really think they separate. I know there is money involved. I know some people have money. I know some people bought it, but we're going to see. Time will tell who's going to actually keep it, because that's the big equalizer. It's going to be about effort, continued effort, and consistency. We'll see how it shakes out, who was really showing up and doing the work and whose was paid for. Once you get a point where you're paying for it, you know what they say, another level, another devil, it'll never be enough. You'll never find satisfaction and happiness with that being your pursuit to beauty. But if your approach to it is like, I feel better, I have more energy, my joints don't crack when I squat down anymore, I can do a split, whatever it is, and I look good, like I think that is so much more compelling and so much exciting. And it is a status symbol, and it should be for that reason. I think status symbols should absolutely not be something everybody gets access to. I think it should only be the people that are willing to work for them and put the effort in. And the good news is, with enough of the right mindset work and the right attitude, literally anybody can do it. And like I said, I think it's the great equalizer. So all that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I hope this video was at all interesting to you. Please let me know down below what you think. Let me know your thoughts on this subject, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.